South Lyon is booming with new construction, but not all of these neighborhoods are created equal. So in this video, we're going to take you through the top neighborhoods for 2025, the ones that you'll make sure you want to see before they sell out. Stick around. Now, before I jump in, it's important to note that this list is not really in any particular order, although I will be sure to let you know which some of my favorites are, and also give you a little bit of pros and cons about different builders and locations or things like that as we go. And to start off here, we're going to start with some of the communities that are nearing their final phases, right? Or in their final phases with just a few home sites remaining. But if you stick around to the end, we're going to introduce a few sites that are just breaking ground and don't yet have model homes or don't necessarily have any homes that are being developed there yet, but will be soon. Now, ironically, we are starting with my favorite subdivision on this list. It's nearly sold out though, so you do have to act quickly if this is going to be a community that you want to jump on, and that is Crystal Creek South. And the builder for Crystal Creek South is Lombardo Homes. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Lombardo, if you're coming from a different area in the country, I would consider Lombardo to be kind of a regional builder, right? They're not exclusively in Michigan, although I think this is where they have the biggest presence. And we have a few builders on the list that are national builders, and we got a couple of, let's call them mom and pop type builders, right? Where they're smaller, they do fewer units per year type deal. But Lombardo here is kind of that middle ground player where, especially in South Lyon here, they are consistently developing subdivisions in this community, and they have multiple of them going. You'll hear that name a lot as we go through the video. And Crystal Creek South is one of my favorites because it's really a higher end home for the South Lyon area in general. I wouldn't say it's like the peak of the market, but it's a nice little above average community, and it's a reasonable size community, right? So like I'm in a community that's only 36 homes. That's probably a little bit too small because HOA budget is kind of limited, but you have some of these communities that are 300 plus houses, and that leaves you a little bit disconnected from your neighborhood as a whole. Crystal Creek South, on the other hand, though, is 79 home sites in total. And you really need to act quickly, though, because there's only 3 available. And the community is at Milford Road and 11 Mile. So you're not directly on top of downtown South Lyon. You're not directly on the freeway. You're kind of in a nice middle ground to get to the different parts of South Lyon. Now, the homes in this community are anywhere from 2,700 square feet all the way up to 4,500 square feet. They all have 3-car garages. They're all situated on basements. Nearly every community that we're going to cover has basements. If you're new to Michigan, it's going to be something that you find in almost any house, especially in new construction. But what I really like about this neighborhood is that it offers ranch, Cape Cod, and colonial style homes. And so if you're unfamiliar with those terms, ranch obviously is a 1-level house. Cape Cods are 2 levels, or sometimes call them 1.5 level homes, because they have a first floor primary, but usually some additional bedrooms on an upper floor. And then colonials, that has all the bedrooms typically on the 2nd story, and your living areas on the 1st floor. So if you're a downsizer or somebody that doesn't want to deal with steps, or if you have a growing family, this particular neighborhood has a product for each of those different buyers. And base price for this community, just under $600,000. The reality is, though, is you're not going to come in anywhere near that price. Maybe, I guess, for these final few lots, if they're not in the most ideal situation in terms of backing. But most of the lots in this community have nice privacy in the back, right? It's very tree lined. There's a couple segments that are backing to one another, but in general, my favorite community just because it's quality homes, good location, and a really desirable price point for South Lyon. Second on our list that's almost sold out is another Lombardo community. This one is the Estates at Hutsfield, technically the Estates at Hutsfield 2. The original development was a Pulte development, and this is basically a continuation of that subdivision with a new 130 home sites. Now, however, we're mentioning it towards the beginning of this video because if you want to get into this particular community, you're gonna have to do so fast. As of the making of this video, there are only 9 home sites available. Now, a little bit different product than what Lombardo offers at Crystal Creek South, a little bit more affordable option, right? If you're not looking to break the bank but still want a new construction home, then this price point is going to be a little bit more affordable for you at just under $500,000. Now, the site says that they offer ranch homes as well as colonials, primarily colonial homes built within this site already, but you can get anything from a 1,900 square feet to about 2,700, 2,800 square feet, and 2.5 bathrooms, 2-car garages, and of course on basements like you'll find in most Michigan homes. Now, this particular site, I love the fact that it's more affordable. The one downside for me personally, and it may not be a challenge for you, it's located at 8 and Griswold, which by no means is a bad area. I'm looking at it from a commute perspective. So 8 and Griswold is not really anywhere close to I-96 or US 23 or M14, which are the major kind of thoroughfares that are coming in and out of South Lyon. Now, if you are headed to Ann Arbor for work, you're real close to Pontiac Trail, which will take you all the way down into the city of Ann Arbor. But if you're commuting to anywhere else within Metro Detroit, you're going to spend 10-15 minutes just getting to a freeway before you head into whatever town your destination is. And so that's the one drawback. There's a couple of communities kind of within this general vicinity, but overall, another quality Lombardo product, just at a little bit of more affordable price if that's what you're looking for. All right, third on our list here is Woodlands of Lyon, which is a Pulte development making its way early on our list because it is nearly sold out. As of the making of this video, only 2 home sites remain out of the original 109 that this particular neighborhood offered. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Pulte, you probably live under a rock because Pulte has a national presence in a lot of areas. So maybe you just are from an area that they don't have a big presence in, but definitely going to be a few communities in South Lyon at any given time that Pulte is offering. And what I like about Pulte is that they're really in tune with market research and what people want in homes, right? So they have a lot of options in their homes, but their standard floor plans are pretty desirable in my opinion, or contemporary with what people are looking for, open layouts, office space, things like that really make them a quality builder in my opinion. Now, Woodlands here is just under a $600,000 starting price, and homes in here are primarily colonials, anywhere from the 2,700 square foot mark to about 3,500. And you can get anything from 4 to 6 bedrooms. You can get anything from 2.5 to 4.5 bathrooms. 2-car garage is kind of the standard option, with 3-car being an option as well. This community is located at 9 in Griswold, which we mentioned previously. Hutsfield is at 8 in Griswold, so not too far away from that, and just kind of tucked off to the side now, kind of hidden from the main thoroughfares that South Lyon offers, currently directly across the street from Cattails Golf Club. And so I like the seclusion and the privacy that offers, but running into a similar situation that Hutsfield is in terms of location. You're slightly improved though, because you're that much closer to 10 Mile, which is, kind of a main thoroughfare, and you're that much closer to expressways, but that would be the one drawback. But second to Crystal Creek, these homes are phenomenal homes, right? As I mentioned, I'm a fan of their product, but also their scale. Not quite as large in terms of options as Crystal Creek South, but another very solid option if you're looking for a little bit of a nicer home within the South Lyon area. All right, next on our list, we have Hudson Cleaver Farms. In that same Griswold corridor, just north of 8 Mile, a little south of 9 Mile, this particular development by JDM Building is a more local builder, right? They don't have the same sort of regional or national presence as some of the other ones that we're going to mention here today. And I really debated on including this particular neighborhood because there's only one spec home remaining. And if you're unfamiliar with what a spec home is, it simply means that the home has finished completion in terms of construction. So you've missed the opportunity to kind of pick your finishes, your cabinet colors, your flooring. So the product that you get is the product you get. It is new construction though, so you would be the first owner if that's still important to you. But I also wanted to make sure that I included this particular community because JDM Building is a company that I have explored explored personally when we were first moving to the South Lyon area. I like their product. I like the fact that they're local. I really, as a Michigan living channel, like to support Michigan companies and, local companies. Now, this particular home is 2,900 square feet. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom with a 3-car garage. And so you can jump on that one if you act quickly enough. But the other reason that we included them in the video is because they have another development that we're going to mention later on in the video that I'm pretty excited about. And so if you stick around, we'll make sure that we cover that one as well. Okay, so we've gotten through the communities that are act now type of communities because they're running out of lots. The rest of the homes that we're going to showcase here are subdivisions that are currently under construction, and towards the end of the video we'll hit on a few that are just breaking ground, right? Might not even have roads and certainly don't have a model home yet. And so 5th on our list is Hudson Towns, which is by Robertson Brothers Homes, or Robertson Homes if you're looking for them online is how you're going to find them. Now, this is kind of a similar to a Lombardo, where I would consider them a more of a regional type builder, maybe slightly smaller than Lombardo, but certainly bigger than like a JDM building. This particular community too is going to be different than pretty much any of the other communities that we've highlighted or will highlight in this video. So with this particular community, you're looking at condo homes, townhome style homes, right? So hence the Hudson Towns. 2 bedrooms to 3-bedroom, 1,300 to about 1,900 square feet, townhome style. If you're unfamiliar with that, several different levels, we should say, where you might likely have a garage kind of on the first level, a living area above that, and then bedrooms above that. What's nice about this particular community is the affordability, starting at just under $350,000. So if you're price conscious, this may be a good option for you. And also the location. So this is technically New Hudson, which is really just an extension of South Lyon, still South Lyon schools, just a different post office. But you're located at Grand River and Lyon Center, which is pretty close to Grand River and Milford Road. So you have the convenience of a Lowe's nearby, a Walmart nearby, a couple of restaurants, dealerships, but most importantly, access to I-96. So if you like being in the South Lyon area but want an easy commute to the different parts of Metro Detroit, this is going to be a good location for you, but a completely different product. So different buyer pool altogether. Might be the most appealing to you, might not be something that you're interested in at all, but these definitely look sharp. A quality builder and community that if I was trying to break into the South Lyon market, would definitely be something that I considered. Sticking on the condo theme, you have Orchard Crossing Villas by Lombardo. Now this community is directly across the street from Blake's Apple Orchard. Gotta assume that was an influence in naming this particular community. Right at Kent Lake and Silver Lake Road. So you're about a mile south of I-96. So if you're looking for easy access to Metro Detroit, you're certainly going to have it here. Now these are ranch style duplex condos. So that's a mouthful for you, but basically to say that they're going to be ranch condos that are attached with one wall, right? So pairs. There's 40 in total that are going to be available. And from what I can tell, they're going to be 2,000 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom with a 2-car garage, of course, on a basement. And these condos are going to be starting just under $470. And so not sure yet in terms of what type of options and additions you're going to be looking at in terms of costs. If you can add a 3rd bedroom or things of that nature, to be determined, but great condo option at an affordable price point within South Lyon. Another Lombardo option for you is Sterling Trail. This community is off of Pontiac Trail, just north of 11 Mile, and a little bit more affordable price point than Crystal Creek South that we mentioned earlier. These homes are starting in the $580 range. Again, this is before options, and it's 40 home sites offering both ranch and colonial style homes, anywhere from 2,200 square feet to about 3,200 square feet, 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and 3-car garages. Now, this community is the only one that I'm mentioning that is in what you could call South Lyon proper, right? Parts of this South Lyon area are South Lyon mailing, but they're really Lyon Township is the vast majority of the area that we're in here. But South Lyon proper has a slightly higher tax rate. And so while the homes may be a little bit more affordable, you do have to be setting proper expectations in terms of what your property tax taxes are going to be. But a really nice community that's situated between two established communities, and ultimately a positive location in terms of convenience to downtown South Lyon as well as I-96 for getting around the rest of Metro Detroit. The last Lombardo community that we're going to mention here is Hickory Creek. This one's also going to be off 11 Mile, but this one is east of Milford Road, whereas Crystal Creek is west of Milford Road. And it's a smaller community, but offers the same sort of scale in terms of homes that Crystal Creek South does. Only 20 home sites, and you can again do ranch, Cape Cod, or colonial style homes. Now pricing starts at $640, but not all the lots are created equal. So based on lot premiums, you're definitely probably looking more than that for the more desirable lots. And then obviously, depending on the scale of home that you're looking at, you could be looking at substantially more. Now these are 2,700 to 4,500 square feet, 3 to 5 bedrooms, and 2.5 to 4.5 baths, depending on what you're looking for. And most, if not all of these, are going to be 3-car garages. Now, the one thing that I want to note with this one is I like the location, but you are a dirt road east of Milford Road there. So in order to enter the sub, you're going to be traveling through unpaved roads. Now, they're obviously well kept, but it does mean that you're probably going to want a membership to a car wash. And so just need to keep that in mind, but offers a lot of luxury and scale as well as privacy if that's what's important to you. Pulte also has 2 more communities, one that is underway currently and one that is just breaking ground and was just released. Aspen Ridge, which is at Martindale and Grand River, is the one that's kind of already underway here. And these homes are 2,400 to 3,300 square feet. You can do anywhere from a 3-bedroom to a 6-bedroom in this particular community. And they all start with 2.5 baths, but you can add on up to 4 baths in these particular home sites. 2-car garage is going to come standard with an option of a 3rd-car garage. And the current starting price is just under $540 for this particular community. And what I like about this community at Aspen Ridge is the fact that you're conveniently located off of Grand River, so easy access to the freeway. But I really like they've built in some green space and some walking paths. So if you like to be able to get out of the house and go walk the dog and things of that nature, they've got that built in for you. And then also most of the lots are pretty private with wooded surrounds, right? So not too many that are, adjacent to one another or looking at another house in their backyard. So definitely a lot of upside to Aspen Ridge, and one that you can get into because they're not yet sold out. The other Pulte sub that was just released is Meadows of Lyon, and this community is across the street, across 9 Mile from Woodlands of Lyon, which was another Pulte sub that we mentioned previously in this video. And similar to Aspen Ridge, this particular community only has 32 home sites, but they're all, not all, but most are nature bound, right? So they have trees in the back, not adjacent to other properties. So you get a lot of privacy, and because of the area, you're not going to get a ton of traffic because 9 Mile and Griswold currently not a very heavy thoroughfare for South Lyon. Now this price point is going to be a little bit more than Aspen Ridge, starting just under $600, but that's because the homes are going to be a little bit grander in scale. So colonials primarily from 2,700 square feet to 3,500 square feet. You can get, with the options that Pulte offers, anything from a 4-bedroom to a 6-bedroom, 2.5 bath to 4.5 bath, and most will have a 2-car garage with the option of making it a 3-car garage. The other thing that I like about this particular community is that you're adjacent to Cattails Golf Course. The one downside to that is that I'm under the understanding that Cattails has been sold and will be eventually additional housing in the area. So we'll certainly probably cover that in a future video, but I like Meadows of Lyon as an option despite the fact that they have no homes for me to tour yet. But based on the Pulte product and the location and privacy that you're going to get, it should be a solid option for you. All right, so at this point, we've covered all the subs that are in my top list for 2025, but there's 2 more that I want to mention. They're not yet released, but they're certainly underway in terms of development, and so they will be released soon. So if you're catching this video and they sound like a fit, then it might be an option for you going forward if you're not quite ready to pull the trigger on new construction. Now, the first one is another Robertson homes, and this is the preserve at Davis Creek. Now, these are going to be detached ranch style condos. So if you like the idea of condo living but don't like the idea of the duplex style that we mentioned previously from Lombardo, this could be a great option for you. Now, unfortunately, I don't have many details on this particular product in terms of how many home sites will be available, starting prices, things of that nature. But it does look like they're going to be 2,000 square foot ranch condos, roughly, with 2 bedrooms to 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms to 3 bathrooms. And so, again, if you want that condo living in South Lyon, but don't want the attached duplex style, then this is going to be a nice little niche within the South Lyon market for those type of people. And conveniently located off of Pontiac Trail, just a little bit north of 11 Mile. So really excited to see what else they release with this particular subdivision. But again, coming soon, should be ready towards the end of 2025. All right, so the last one that we're going to mention here is from JDM Building, who we mentioned previously. This community I have nearly no details on other than they are calling it Devonshire 2. And Devonshire 1 was a Pulte community off of 8 Mile near Napier, and really nice, pretty exquisite homes, and a really strong price point in the 700 to 800 range for that particular community. So seeing as this is kind of a phase 2 to that particular neighborhood, I have to imagine that the product that they're going to build for this particular site is going to be similar in scale, and really, in my opinion, a nice location. You're not quite really convenient to the freeways per se, but you are very close to a downtown Northville. You're really close to Kroger. You got ITC sports park right across the street. And so a community that I just have the beginning knowledge of, but should be available at the end of 2025 or beginning of 2026. And Devonshire 1 is colonial style homes. And so I imagine it's going to be something similar, but we'll put out future videos about this particular neighborhood when we have more details about what they're offering in terms of models and plans. All right, so we threw a lot of great communities at you, and really you can't go wrong with any of them in my opinion. It's really going to be a matter of location preferences, style preference, right? Obviously single family versus condo versus townhome options out there. And so if new construction is something that's on your radar, I would definitely do your research and explore these particular communities. And it's important to know that buying new construction, while it has its appeal of being brand new and never owned before, there are some pitfalls to watch out for. And so if you're looking for somebody that can kind of guide you through new construction, but also kind of guide you through the different areas and the pros and cons of South Lyon, my team and I would love to give you up-to-date information on these communities as well as up-and-coming communities that might be a fit for you. And so whether your move is within the next couple of months or years from now, we'd be happy to be your real estate resource of choice. And so reach out to me if you have any questions about these communities or anywhere within South Lyon if you're looking at buying resale or things of that nature. And we look forward to seeing you on the next video. I'm Ryan Rathel, and this is Michigan Living.